Hello, everybody, and welcome into the 617 podcast. We are brought to you each and every week by the Crow-Worthy Network. Proud to be here. I know it's not Mike. It's not Joe. It's not even Ray. Ray's here, though. It's me. It's Craig D'Alessandro here with you on the 617 this week. Ray Sean Buchanan, that sexy son of a bitch, is over here as well. Ray Sean, how you doing?
Man, I'm good. This is a treat for me. I think I'm the only one that's actually done just solo shows with you, if I'm not mistaken. So, I want to keep this tradition going. Then it's just you and me. When you do step from behind the producer chair, tonight you're doing some double dipping. So, yeah, I'm excited to have this conversation with you and get into some Patriots, man. So let's do it. Let's get it.
I'm a man of many talents, as they say. So,
No doubt.
stepping in front of the microphone tonight. Before we get to, with the 617, we talk all things Boston sports here. I really don't want a lot of. It's been a big Boston sports news day. Of course, the Patriots today were officially eliminated from the AL East contention. It's just a matter of time before they're out of the wild card as well. Robert Williams is going to be gone for in pretty much all of training camp. We're going to let the Green Vemmy guys handle that. They'll be out on Thursday. Zdeno Chara finally retired, officially retired today as a member of the Boston Bruins. That seemed inevitable, but still sad that he's going to be gone. But I'm very happy he retired as a Bruin.
Yeah, he needs to. Well, I mean, granted, it would have to be something they speak about, but I think for someone that played as long as he did, not just in the league, but just in Boston, obviously he was the captain, part of the 2011 team. I would love for him to be on the coaching staff. So if I'm Cam Neely, if I'm, whoever, the rest of the powers that be over there, I would at least have the conversation to see if he's interested, even if he's in Providence with the, with the minor league team. So I just think that you need greatness like that around on a regular basis. And what he meant to the city, what he meant to that organization. Once again, I'm glad that they went ahead and did that, because that's easily the best move they've had all season outside of bringing back Patrice Bergeron. So yeah, listen, congrats to Zdeno Chara on a phenomenal career. Like I said, we're forever grateful for 2011. We should have got you two more in 2013 and 2019, but that's neither here or there. Regardless, you gave great memories, and like I said, enjoy retirement. You deserve it. You earned it.
He has, but on happier news, we're here today to talk. Well, maybe not happier news, but better news. We're here today to talk about New England Patriots finally getting their first win of the season down in the Steel City of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They are now 1-1 on the season. They beat Pittsburgh 17-14 last night. Played their home opener this upcoming Sunday against the Baltimore Ravens, staying with the AFC North this season. We talked earlier in the preseason, we've talked about this a lot, how in the middle of the season this year, it's going to be a lot of cupcake matchups for the Patriots to kind of go through and get their wins that they're going to get this year. But the beginning and the end of this regular season, really tough matchups. And especially in the beginning. Yeah, I'm very happy they got rid of that Miami matchup out of the way, done early in Miami. Hated that. It's usually in past years, it was like week 16, week 17. Then the season, I think last year was week 17. It's just the worst. So that game's already done. We got our ass kicked by Miami. Happy that's over. Miami's still kicking ass. So
I don't feel as bad anymore as I did.
Yeah, I don't feel as bad. Looks like they're going to be in trouble for a while for us here in Patriots land. Unfortunately, the Bills decimated the Vikings the other day. Was it the Vikings? It was the Vikings.
No,
right?
No, they beat Tennessee. The Vikings.
They beat their ass too. So yeah.
Philly took care of them. Jalen Hurts had a heck of a performance last night too.
But when we looked at the regular season, we started talking about, all right, they got this really tough start with Miami, Pittsburgh, Green Bay, and Baltimore. Obviously not in that order, but out of the four of those matchups, we've said that, all four of those look tough. The ones that they could win and need to win is this matchup with Pittsburgh. And wasn't pretty, but they came out with the win in this one.
Yeah, no, I listen, to say that I wasn't surprised that they won would be a lie. I had mentioned on our last week's show that I had lost hope that they would win any of these first four. I thought that after that showing when you only score 7 points on the road, I just thought, man, like it's gonna be tough to score, which it still is. We saw that on Sunday and different times to the game. But yeah, I couldn't believe how much different they looked, even though there was some things that they had to clean up, and we'll get into that as the show goes on. But yeah, I was shocked that they ended up coming in there and winning in Pittsburgh. But I must say this because I have some friends that are Pittsburgh fans. Obviously, if you're a fan of the show, DK Sizzle's wife Leah is a diehard Steelers fan. So Leah, obviously we love you. We always love messing with you. But I have to say, death, taxes, and us beating Pittsburgh just seems to be the theme. They have not beat us really when it mattered. Yes, we did a rewrap show. We talked about they beat us on Halloween some years ago, but even at the end of the day, we came out with this that year. We came out with the ring. So they just have not gotten us when when it's mattered. So I guess we should have been surprised that they came in there and won because it just doesn't matter who the coach is. Whether it's been, I mean, it's only been Tower and Tomlin since Bill's been there, but yeah, they came in, they stuck to the game plan and they did enough to get to win. And the goal, obviously, in the NFL, is to go 1-0 every week, unless you're playing on Thursday as well. So they went 1-0. So they did their job, and now it's on to Baltimore.
So two things in particular about the Patriots and the Steelers, not necessarily this matchup, but like if you want to call it a rivalry, I guess you can. Just like all together. Did you know that this was the first? You probably known this since this is all talked about last week. Did you know that this was the first Patriots Steelers matchup without Tom Brady or Ben Roethlisberger at quarterback since December 1998, when Drew Bledsoe was still at the quarterback position for the Patriots? Gino Cappelletti was still calling the games for them back then. So
wow,
it just and by the way, one of those quarterbacks still playing today, just on a different team. Also, the first Steelers Patriots game that was not in a prime time matchup. This is the first 1:00 game for them since I believe 2004, which really blows my mind considering the fact that they haven't played each other a lot over the last 20 years. But when they do, they've always been in prime time, never a 1:00 game. And, obviously both teams rebuilding, and that kind of stuck out to me a little bit.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, obviously, we know DK has mentioned the Mitch Trubisky on the show previously, but yeah, I mean they are in the rebuild too, like you mentioned, and obviously they have players like Najee Harris and Chase Claypool and TJ Watt, and so they have some guys there that have been cornerstones and will be cornerstones of them going forward. But yeah, I mean it wasn't shocking that it was at 1:00. But I'm not gonna lie, I did think it was a 4:00 game. I did. So when I came out of the person, I knew that I was like, oh, like it's a 1:00 game. I was like, whoa, like okay, well, I need to grab food and head home immediately because I was like, I don't want to miss the I don't want to miss the first quarter. So yeah, so that's funny that you alluded to that, because I didn't think, 'cause I always assumed too that it's gonna be at the least a 4:25, and then every now and then it's either a Monday night game or a Sunday night on it.
Right.
So but
It's just
yeah,
kind
I
of
mean,
it's just kind of ingrained. You think Patriots Steelers. You think, oh, it's a primetime game. I got time.
Yeah,
All right,
I
so
mean, it is what it is.
yeah. All right, so let's get to this matchup from last week. Obviously, Patriots win 17-14, get their first win of the season. Do you want to talk about the good or the bad first, Rayshawn?
I want to be positive. I feel like we've had a good start. Let's start with the positive.
Okay. All right, let's talk about the good things that we like in this one. I felt the offense was a little bit better in this one. I'm not saying it was great. Not even saying it was good. It was better. I thought the play calling was a little bit better. The receivers were getting a little bit more open. Where I really want to focus on the offense for positives, O-line looked a lot better. O-line looked a
Yes.
lot better. And even if the Watt brother TJ was not out, was out there, I still feel like they would have handled him. I felt like Cole Strange had a really, really good game in this one compared to where he was last week.
He did, and I know he actually got a good grade from PFF last week, which I honestly I didn't care about because of how bad they looked. But
I really don't care much about PFF's grading.
Right, but I know that there's the analytic people that listen to the
Right.
show and will comment saying, "Oh, like, well,
For,
he was cleaning all 13 snaps." I don't care about that because
yeah,
obviously
like for
we
example,
lost by 13. So
yeah,
let's be real.
for example, I see all the time last year, like every single week, throughout and throughout. The best runner in week one was actually Damien Harris, even though he only had 46 yards on the week. Like,
Yeah,
come
like
on.
that's a joke. Yeah, give me a break.
Yeah.
But I will say there's a play I think it's been on different telestrators, mainly on NBC Sports and some other uh networks that talked about the Patriots game. There was a play, I forget what quarter it was in, but Cole Strange recovers really, really well.
Mhm.
He helped Trent Brown on a kind of like on a well, in basketball you call it a hedge, but he basically like gave like a little hedge block and helped out with Trent Brown. Saw that a guy was coming loose on an inside stunt and got back to his man and put the paws on him and was like, "Yo, I'm here. What's up?" So you can see why they draft them. And once again, for those that say, "Well, you're speaking on revisionist history, hindsight 2020," we didn't say he was going to be a bad player. That never came out of our mouths. That wasn't our that wasn't our anger with the pick. The anger was, yo, the guy you got at 29 or whatever they picked him at is the dude you could have picked at 75. Like, he would have been there. Once again, it led to the jokes from Les Snead and Sean McVay. We addressed that when that came out. And it was rightfully so that they clowned it, that it was a joke. Like, the guy would have been there 50 picks later. You didn't have to take that reach at the time. Now, if like I said, I joked about it right after when we had the show with Doug Tide. I said he better become Steve Hutchinson. He better be. He better become Steve Hutchinson if he's going to be in the starting lineup right away. And that particular play that I just spoke of was a Steve Hutchinson type of play. So I hope that he continues to build off that. I hope that his confidence is through the roof and that he continues to learn. Because Trent Brown has been a hell of a lineman for a while. It's just a matter of him staying healthy and being on the field and being engaged. Obviously, because we know when he's not, then he looks very you can get around him pretty quickly. So yeah, so I was pleased with that, but I was pleased with his play. I was pleased with how Wendell looked. I was pleased with how even Isaiah Wynn looked, and I've got on Isaiah Wynn at times. So yeah, I think they heard the chatter. I think that they were called out by all the coaching staff, and they said, okay, well, how are you going to respond to this adversity? Because Dante Scarnecchia is not walking through that door, so you're not getting extra help as how to get coached up on the offensive line. So, but yes, to your point, I was pleased with the improvement, and hopefully they continue to build off that.
Do you ever get to see the All-22 film?
No, but
Do you
I
know what
know I
that?
know what it is, but I haven't seen it. But I know what
Yeah.
it is. But I haven't
So
seen it.
I was lucky enough to be in a position recently to watch the All-22 for the Patriot Steelers game, and oof, oof. Cole Strange and Trent look very, very good this week, and that's a good Steelers defensive line. I don't care if TJ Watt's in or out; you still got Cam Hayward on there.
Yep.
Uh,
Mhm.
they Cole Strange and Trent Brown just own them, and them two are the ones I'm worried about. I'm not so much worried about Isaiah Wynn and Michael Owenu on the right side. I worry more about the blind side always when it comes to the offensive line more than the weak side.
Yeah.
So I thought that those two just own them. We're gonna see what happens next Sunday in Baltimore, but I feel like those two were just really good. And I got more stuff in the All-22 when it comes to Mac Jones, but we gotta wait for the lowlights for that one. But moving on into still positive territory. Jacoby Myers, another good game,
Yeah,
another
your
solid little
guy.
game for Jacoby Myers. I think I wrote this down because I I've been accused on this show multiple times of
Mhm.
being a Jacoby Myers hater,
Mhm.
and true. First of all,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
second of
Let's be
all,
honest.
uh, yeah, uh, I he's turning. I feel like every quarterback needs a binky, a little safety valve that you can throw to.
Yep.
That's what Jacoby Myers is becoming for Mac Jones, and you know what? I'm getting into it, man. At,
Well,
th- at
I'm
this point where the Patriots are at, you just need to make completions, get first downs,
yep.
and I'm completely okay with it right now. I'm starting to like the kid more and more every week.
He's a bigger Troy Brown. Um, and once again, I paid that as a compliment. Like Troy Brown obviously was a safety valve for Tom early in his career too. He just knows how to make a play when you need to. And that's what caters to Bill eyes the most. Can you make a play when it's 37? You need a 10-yard out or a 10-yard dig route. Like, can you be that guy even on 2nd and 4 to help move the chains? Like, that's what he's become. And truth be told, it really started the year that Cam was here. He was doing that stuff for Cam Newton. He made Cam Newton look decent in some games because he was taking stuff out of thin air, literally. So he was there. And I think, obviously, for him being, undrafted in 2019, I think, he is the Bill Belichick prototype. I'm playing with a chip on my shoulder every week because I don't know if this is going to be my last week in NFL or here. So I'm going to make sure that you remember the name Jacoby Myers. And he still has to improve as a pass blocker. That's another conversation for another day. But as a pass catcher, which is his primary role, he's continued to get better. Obviously, with him being a former quarterback in college at NC State, he sees the field differently. And although he's not someone who's going to separate and make a defender look foolish, he runs very crisp routes. And like I said, he is a Troy Brown type wide receiver, which means it's all possession. He's not someone that's going to blow by you. But at the end of the day, you're going to look up and be like, oh, 7 catches for 80 yards. I mean, I know he had more than that Sunday. I think it was like 9 catches for 95. But I was pleased, as I usually am with him, but I'm glad that you acknowledged that he has become that guy here, because we've seen it on tape. We've seen it in games, so we're glad that you came around on Jacoby Myers being a legitimate playmaker, not just for the Patriots, but
I'm still not. I'm not a playmaker yet. I'm not there yet. I'm there as a.
How is he not a playmaker? You're just talking about what he does for the team. That's making plays. He's not gonna get a 50-yard going. He's not going
right. That's what I consider a playmaker. I consider Tyreek.
Okay. I mean, in that sense, yes. In that sense, sure. That's fair. He's not gonna do.
I think he's a good football player. Is what I think he is.
Yes. Yeah.
I think he's a guy who is capable of 100 receptions a year, and maybe 800, and maybe like 800 yards or something like that. A playmaker, still don't know, but maybe.
Playmaker. That if you need, like you said, it's a safety valve. If you need, that should be the tight ends, and we'll get into that shortly. But it's just like, you need someone to get that. Someone to get that play, and he does it time and time again. So I've been on the bandwagon.
He can still be a really good player. He doesn't necessarily need to be like an all-pro Tyreek Hill kind of player. Yeah. Julian Edelman wasn't that player. I don't think Julian Edelman made a single Pro Bowl in his entire life for an all-pro team. And he's
not all-pro. He might have made the Pro Bowl maybe once, maybe.
He made it, but he was not.
He did have 100 catch season. One of the years, but he's in that mold though. Jacoby Myers is in that mold.
Exactly. He's in the Wes Welker, Julian Edelman kind of mold. Yeah. I'm completely fine with that, because in this offense, that's what you need from a player like that.
Exactly.
A person I didn't think I'd be putting in the positive category, who I'm going to, unfortunately, is Matt Patricia. I'm sorry, man, but he called a good game against Pittsburgh. I don't care who's at quarterback, who the defense is they were playing. He called a good game, and he is the offensive line coach too, and they played a great game, so I got to give him credit. And I think we're starting to learn a little bit more of what the new Patriots offense is going to be, because for the staple of the Patriots offense for 20 years was like the play action pass or whatever, faking it to the running back.
Yeah.
It's looking like a lot more RPO this year, which the run pass option, which I'm not necessarily a huge deflector of. I think that can be effective if you have the right personnel, and I think the Patriots do. So we've known for a while, since Jacob Johnson kind of let it hint in an interview for NFL Europe, or whoever it was in Europe, that Patriots were being like, well, don't need a fullback anymore, so we're going to let you go. Patriots always treat the first 4 games as extra preseason, and I think obviously they needed it based on how they looked coming out of the preseason, the real one. Mm-hmm. But as far as working out an RPO against the Steelers, I thought they looked pretty good. I think Mac Jones does a lot of decision making he's got to clean up, but I thought the play calling actually looked pretty good.
Well, to me, I think the reason why the playmaking was crazy from Mac's standpoint, or just him just making plays in general, I should say, is I still think he's just trying to adjust to what they actually want him to do. Personally, I think that he should be doing more of the play calling, in my opinion. I think that he is someone that
Mac,
can, yeah, Mac, yeah, I think he
do
can
you think he's earned it yet?
I think that outside of it shouldn't just be something when they're in a 2-minute drill that when they're going fast, that he should be able to make the calls. I feel like, yeah, I think that and once again, give him a quarter to do it. Like, it doesn't have to be a whole game, but give him a quarter, see how he does, and then you build off of that. Um,
I still feel like, you know, Mac has commanded that O line or the offense, but he's still not making the calls. Obviously, he's a quarterback and he's got to make the plays, but I still don't feel like he's making the
like,
calls.
yeah, no, I know he's definitely not at this moment, but I think that it eliminates the guessing out of it, and I just think that if he's able to use his intelligence, as I think Mike alluded to on the previous show, I think that's something that could be beneficial, not just for him and his growth, but their offense overall. And you know, just continue to coach him up, and that's what Mac would, and but listen, Patricia will still get the credit for it because obviously that's what they're going to do. They're going to give a coach the credit there, so which is fine. But yeah, I mean, yeah, he there was great improvement or great strides from what we saw in Miami to Pittsburgh. So yes, my biggest thing was just like that first drive. Still was like they come out like gangbusters. They're running it. They're getting 7-yard hit drops. Like they're getting all that stuff in there, and then they still ended up with 3. I'm just like, and I know that was still better than last week because they still ended up with points, but I'm like, man, like you can't drive down the field that easily and end up with just 3. So, listen, I know I'm seeping into the into the low lights, but I just thought about that when you said that. But no, listen, yes, it can't be denied that there was improvement, and that has something to do with Matt Patricia. But I didn't think he was going to go that route. I thought he was going to go with Algalore because
We'll get there.
Actor too, yeah. No, I'm like you saying he didn't want to give him credit. I'm like, okay, you and Joe are who's that? I know Joe doesn't like Joe don't like Actor at all. Joe, like he basically gave the statement. He was like, "Yo, their clock is right for us today." I was like, "Damn!" Like, okay, so I'm like, "Can we just be happy?" Like, I'm just happy that somebody on this team made a play. That's one of the better plays I've seen him make since he came out of USC all those years ago. So, um, I thought it was going to be a pick, but it was in the air, and I was like, "Come on, Mac! Like you already threw one to Minka. Like this is not good." And yeah, they struck before the half, and which remind me of some old school Patriots type of games when they would score before the half, and then you would get the what they call it the double whammy, where they would get the ball back in the second half, and before you know it, it was fans were going home and was saying, "Hey, drive safely." They should be in the best 12th man in the league. Like that's just what it was. But that's kind of what happened, Sunday. I wish they had scored some more points, obviously, to make it more convincing. But listen, they need to fight through adversity, and we saw that on Sunday because they handle it pretty well. But I was pleased with Aguilar, just like you were pleased with Patricia. Hopefully they continue to build off that performance. To me, another highlight, after you had this on there when we spoke earlier, the defense looked really good. And, I want to give myself flowers because I was saying it all preseason and we had these show, and I said that defense is the head of the offense. And, Mike kind of scoffed at it. Joe was kind of in between. Joe agreed, but he was like, "Oh, it's supposed to be because it's well, no." I'm like, they showed it in the preseason, excuse me, and now we're seeing it now. We saw it on Sunday. Um, I get Mac Wilson stock? I love what I saw for him Sunday. I thought Mac Wilson was phenomenal.
Mhm.
We haven't seen a linebacker make that type of play on a ball. Yes, he didn't catch it, but obviously he's the reason why it was able to be caught by Jalen
Is he a
Mills.
linebacker? I thought he was in the secondary.
No, he's a linebacker. He's a small
Okay. Okay.
linebacker. Yeah, he's a
Okay.
linebacker. And so, um,
That's why I
I mean,
thought he was a secondary player.
Doug, yeah,
Oh,
we look at Duggar differently, but yeah, so no,
right.
no, Mac's a speed guy, but once again, guy from Peanuts, guy from Chase Winovich, and Matt's not going to be an edge rusher, but he's going to be someone that can be in coverage. He basically just read what Trubisky was doing. Trubisky didn't even look him off. He sat there and said, "Oh, okay, hey, like I'm going over here 10 yards, catch me if you can," type thing. And he leaped up, he made the deflection, which is just good as a pick. And then Jalen Mills, finished it off. So very pleased with the defense. I know you were pleased with the offensive line, with the defensive line, so you can get into that, when you speak. But I love what I saw from Mac Wilson. Love what I saw from the secondary as well. I thought they were much better because Pittsburgh's receiving core is pretty good.
It is good. It's sneaky good.
It's very good. So I didn't like seeing Miles Bryant on Chase Claypool. It gave me shades of Ellis Hobbs on Plaxico Burress, and I still have PTSD from that 14 years later. So to me, anytime I saw that, I was like, what are we doing? And I understand that Miles Bryant has been excellent in the return game. He's been excellent. And certain coverages they've had up there, from dot packages to nickel packages. I get that. A 5'9" guy should not be on a guy that's 6'4". Period.
No.
That's like, I saw that, I was like, oh my God, they're gonna go to that matchup every time. He's gonna go for like 160. And then we're having a very different show today. So I'm glad that they chose to cover that differently, as opposed to leaving Miles Bryant on an island, because once again, that is not the most effective way to come out on top. But needless to say, I was pleased with the secondary. I was pleased with the linebacker. So I know you had a point to make about the defensive line.
I love what Detrich Wise is doing this season. He's been like the unsung hero of this defensive line for like 3-4 years now. But I think he's really popping this year, even more than I thought. Like, I thought like Christan Barmore was going to make a huge leap this season, and he still might. He had a sack on Sunday, and he had an excellent game against the Steelers. Not so much against week 1 against Miami, but Detrich Wise, oh boy, he's having like a Chandler Jones rookie year. Oh my God, He's doing so good. He's just so much pressure on quarterbacks, running backs, and he is just destroying offensive linemen right now. It's just, oh man, he's so good. He's so good. I don't know what gets me. I love watching fat guys just assault quarterbacks. It's just so fun for me. And that maybe that's why that's why I don't know why. But him, Barmore, Judon's having an amazing year. I'm reserving judgment on Judon. I'm putting a ban on judging Judon until we get to like week 13 that he's actually still producing. So because every week we're gonna be like, Matt Judon had a good game this week. Like, duh, he's a good player. So we're just waiting to the point like he disappears for like a month.
Hey, I'm here to be that guy. And if I must do it myself, I do the celebration. Like I'm sorry. I have to say it.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, like just see he pops on the screen or off the screen every time. And when he beats his man, it's over. Tool was out there trying to outrun him. He was like, come here, I'm hungry, I need a snack. Don't leave me. Come here. You got bow down, lay down. Like, and I'm just like,
It's not like me when I'm leaving the club.
The motor is there. Say it again.
Sounds like me when I'm leaving the club.
Well, you feel me? So hey, that was me earlier. That had a chicken parmesan sub. Like I'm here to handle business. Matt Judon is here to handle.
Is that what you said to your? Is that what you said to your dinner? I'm here to handle
absolutely. It was phenomenal. It was great. So that's just what it is. So I think that him, and once again, we are the leaders, I feel like, of the Christan Barmore fan club. I think that we have sung his praises, since we've had this show, and it's deserving. Like, he delivers most of the time. Godshot looked good. Like, and he better look good.
Godshot did look good.
Yeah. So I'm pleased overall with how the defense is performing. They're going to have to win that way. And like I said, we'll get into that when we talk about, the Baltimore game later on this week. but it's just like they have to play that way in order to at least have a chance. Because the offense is still behind at this time, obviously.
Last positive note I want to get to before we take a quick break. Very impressive with the backfield. Damian Harris, Ramondre Stevenson. That's a hell of a duo back there. Stevenson actually outplayed Harris last week, 62 to. I'm not doing the math. Stevenson played 62%. Yes, I'm not doing the math. 62% of the snaps he played. I think, if you read the tea leaves, and you know anything about the Patriots, you pretty much know where this is going. But that's a hell of a duo back there. It'd be, even without Ty Montgomery, is that it? Yeah. Even without him, who scored the touchdown in week 1, still feel like the hell of a duo. Maybe Pierre Strong will get in there later this season. He's kind of redshirting right now, but that's a hell of a duo. Damian Harris is a hell of a runner, and Ramondre Stevenson is just a big boy running back, that which Bill loves. If you remember when LeGarrette Blount was here, Bluntford trauma, he loves big boy running back.
That's what he looks like right now. That's what he looks like. And to me, I feel like if we could go back a little bit to when Charlie Weiss was the coordinator here, right? They would screen you to death because Kevin Falk had that shit on lock. The dude was that he was the master of that, right? And he's not as shifty as Kevin Falk was, obviously, because Kevin Falk was like 5'9", 200 pounds, but this dude is 6 feet, 250, just like LeGarrette Blount.
I didn't really.
If you get him running downhill, it's hunting season. Like he's running over everyone that's in his vicinity. You're not getting him on an arm tackle. That's not happening. So you really got to wrap up. And if you have athletic guys out there running like Andrews and Strange, on those blocks, you're getting 8 to 10 a pop. So to me, I just think that he's getting those reps, one, because they believe in his talent. But yes, like you said, read the tea leaves. They're not looking to have much usage on Damian Harris because they're not going to pay him as season ends. So, Damian, I'll see you at the Celtics games because you're always there with Mr. Kraft. I hope they bring you back, brother. But I was because you're cool as hell. You're a real laid back dude. You owe me some nachos. You told me you would give me nachos next time I was on level 3, so I'm holding you to that, big dog. I'll eat it on the side when I'm on my break. But like I said, yeah, like I said, man, they're a hell of a duo, and I hope that the powers that be realize that and say, you know what, at least for another year or two, let's make sure that we keep this tandem. So if they have the franchise tag, they probably won't. They're probably somebody else their franchise tag, but at the same time,
I don't think Bill Belichick would ever franchise a running back.
Probably not, only because that's really one of the few positions on offense he actually knows how to draft.
Yeah.
And really well.
There's one about Bill. He knows how to draft running backs. He just hates them.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, hell, let's bring back Orders Anderson. I know that he didn't draft him, but I know he was the defensive coordinator when Orders Anderson was there. So,
yeah.
But it is what it is. But like I said, that they have done great work so far, and we're gonna need them to have any resemblance of an offense the rest of the year.
Last thing I want to get to, because it's just someone I didn't add to the sheet or anything, but it's just someone I came out with right now. No third down running back of the Patriots this year, I don't think. I think
it would have been Ty Montgomery, but he got
right.
Would have been
right, but we're not going to see him till at least week 6. It was probably the Browns matchup.
So maybe it becomes him once he comes off the IR list.
It's just something to stick a pin into at this point.
Well, it's needed though. It's needed. I mean, you know how I feel about JJ Taylor. I think that I would love him to be in that Deion Lewis type role just for 5 or 6 games. We don't need to see him every week, but just until guys are healthy, I would love to see that. So yeah, get my guy JJ Taylor out there. Like he's shifty enough that he could be Deion Lewis 2.0. I've been saying that since I've been on the show, and I'm gonna keep saying it until he gets the real opportunity. So get JJ Till out there, see what you can do, 5 or 10 snaps, and who knows, maybe he makes a play that breaks some things open. Never know.
All right, so we talked about the positives coming out of this week 2 win versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Patriots win 17-14, get their first win of the season. Playing Baltimore this upcoming Sunday. We'll have a preview of that matchup coming out on Friday. Rayshawn will be back. He'll be back with Joe Malkin, who'll be at that game, and I'm sure he'll tell you that 17 times. Let's get to the things that I want. It's really hard to find lowlights in a win. I will find them. I will always find the bad.
There. It's there.
Yeah. Oh, it's always there. And first one, to me, it stuck out like a sore thumb. And I'm sure it did to a lot of people who I think this, DeVante Parker came in very heralded during the offseason as as what I would call everything the Keel Harry should have been for this Patriots team. And it turns out I put out a meme on Sunday or Monday, just basically like, the Spider-Man meme of, like pointing back to each other and stuff like that. It was like DeVante Parker, N'Keal Harry, just pointing at each other like they're the exact same player.
Right.
He's a conundrum. I see the talent in him. I really do. And he's just been so ineffective. He's played 106 snaps. He's played pretty much every snap so far for the offense. Only has 2 receptions, I believe. And but I look at the all 22 again, like I did earlier. Defenses are treating him like a number 1 wide receiver. They really are. They are really, really trying to take him out of the game. Obviously, Xavier Howard was on him all day in Miami, just completely took him out. He had a hold in the end zone with, what it is at this point. It was still an interception. In the books, it's an interception. I don't know what to do with this man. This is something the Patriots have not had since Randy Moss have been here. Has had a number 1 wide receiver. But the defenses are treating him like one, which to me is peculiar. And both of Mac Jones's interceptions this year have comes on 50-50 balls to Parker. It's clear to me that they are forced, that this is part of the game plan, that they want to force these balls down the field to make it part of their offense. Maybe it would have been even better if Tyquan Thornton, he's been gone right now, I forgot his name already. It was just, if he was out there too, just blazing past everybody. But it seems like adding the deep ball to the Patriots offense seems to be something that they want to do now that Matt Patricia is calling the games.
Right. And I mean, that's fine. Like, I feel like you have to do more quick strike in today's NFL. So I get that. And you have to make sure that you have those plays where you want to go deep and just, as I say, go vertical now. If it's not working for the time being, find other ways to get him involved. Throw a bubble screen. A couple cross out, shallow cross routes. Do things to get his confidence going in this offense. Then it maybe opens up what you see down the field when he gets on there. That pick that Mick Fitzpatrick had on Sunday, I was like, what is he seeing out there? Because I think what happened was he saw the one-on-one. It was like, oh, okay. But like you said, they're treating him like a number 1. So how the defense disguised it was that from the release, it's like, okay, cool, we got one-on-one. And then obviously because Minka is a safety, it's like, oh, well, I'm the over the top help. And Mac threw it there, and Minka said, okay, well, I'm gonna meet you at the summit. And he was able to catch it and bring it back for a small return. So yeah, I just think that they have to mix up how they're using him right now, because listen, Patriots fans in general, and we're a part of that, obviously, we have PTSD from any wide receiver who doesn't produce right away. There's a reason why we enjoy Kendrick Bourne. There's a reason why, we enjoy Jacoby Myers, most of us. When you show promise right away, that's how you win us over. So it's not going to matter come week 8, and he maybe gets a game where he has 5 catches for like 100 yards. The next day, or even that same day, it's going to be on Twitter. Okay, great. Where was it the first 7 games? And that's exactly what people are going to say, because that's exactly how it is up here. It shouldn't be, but that's just how it goes. Because people are mad about their fantasy numbers, mad about the team not killing it on offense because we're just used to, seeing dominance up here over the past few decades. So, listen, we got to get over it. Them days is over. However, all I'm saying is make sure you get him involved in different ways. Um, I really think that we'll see a big change if they actually implement that, and maybe they're thinking about that for this week because clearly, like I said, that Baltimore team can be had, and we saw a little bit of that on Sunday afternoon.
I'm gonna say one quick thing about this Baltimore team because I know we're still focused on Pittsburgh in this episode. Stay tuned
Mhm.
on Thursday. We'll have the preview of the home opener coming up. You worried about Baltimore at all? Quickly.
Yes, because when you allow 28 in the fourth, and like I said, I'll elaborate more on this on Thursday.
Mhm.
Um, as a competitor, you should be pissed off going into the next week saying, "I'm not going out like this going forward."
Okay.
And just for that immediate impact come Sunday, I'm nervous that they're gonna be like, "All right, like, everyone was talking crazy this week. Let me remind you, we're not gonna be the 2000 Ravens, but, we could be 2012 for a game, and knowing our luck, it would be against us." So, I'm hoping that's not the case, but just that's my initial thought, but like I said, I'll give more in depth with that once we break it down on Thursday.
Yeah, I only brought that up because I saw that game obviously between Miami and Baltimore on Sunday, and Baltimore just came in just freaking curb stomp Miami to begin with, but then Tyreek Hill does what Tyreek Hill does,
That's
and
right.
it's 30, it's 35-35 in no time, and they end up winning the game. So I don't
Crazy,
know.
crazy.
It seems like that being said, I hate doing this because I promised myself I wouldn't do this. Baltimore's defense is bad. They have a bad defense. It's not very good. So I'm going to save that. We'll save that for Joe and you on Thursday. That'll be out on Friday. So we are looking forward to that. I want to move on to more negative highlights because that's what we do best. Uh, Kendrick Bourne's usage still down. Improved from week one. Played 24 snaps instead of 2 versus Miami.
Mhm.
And was probably one of the best wide receivers out there, if we're being perfectly honest. Um,
Right.
I think that what's getting him in trouble is his mouth. He loves to talk. I think I don't know, man. I don't know. I remember that little thing he did with Mike Reese of ESPN during the
Mhm.
offseason where he started talking about like, oh yeah, man, we got a brand new offense. It's gonna be all new. We're cooking stuff like that. And if I have the knowing the Patriots coaches like I do from people that we've talked to, that's the last thing you want to do is talk about the Patriots playbook. I don't. He's obviously in the doghouse. We know that coming out of last week. Obviously, he's in Patricia's doghouse for what happened against Carolina, and just
Right.
the fact that he's late to meetings, he mouths off. First of all, I understand that he needs to be out there, but who is Kendrick Bourne? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we say who was Kendrick Bourne, but they're not in position to say what we as fans can joke like that and say, well, who was
Yeah,
Kendrick Bourne to garner that attention? But yo, he produced out here last year. He had great chemistry with Matt and was the only receiver that showed up against Buffalo in the playoff game. Let's be real. So we forget about that because they got smoked by 30, but he was the only
right.
receiver that showed up and actually had some type of a game that evening. So it's not about the name, it's about the production. When he's been on the field, he's produced. And he became a fan favorite last year. And because your evil twin, Matt Patricia, doesn't like something he said,
Ah, you dick.
it's became a problem. I don't like that. Um, I can see if it was Bill, but Matt. Matt is not Bill. How dare they treat Matt Patricia as if he's nothing more than a glorified assistant at this moment? That pisses me off. Kendrick Bourne play, and this was Nikhil Harry when he was there saying that. You got me. Nikhil Harry did absolutely nothing outside of make a few blocks when they needed it. Great, fine.
I still think that negative touch. I think they'll still think that for Nikhil Harry, I still think that touchdown that never was against Kansas City was the thing that ruined him. That and Brady was just like, fuck this guy.
Well, it was that it definitely ruined it because that was a touchdown and that was a hell of a play.
Absolutely was a touchdown.
Like just what happened, obviously, and then the one play he had against Indianapolis last year, he was like, "Oh, you can actually do this." Like, okay, wow, damn. But once again, don't want to get on that rant. But it's just to me,
Hey, and surprise, surprise, Mac and I are in Chicago.
Right? Yes, exactly. Kendrick Bourne is someone that produced here. They need every playmaker they have to be on the field. We don't have time to send lessons. And this is not the 2018. Once again, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady is not walking through the door. You cannot treat this team and these players as if you still have the best player in the game, because you don't. You cannot do that. And I'll say that every week that they do some nonsense like this. You're not at the level where you can send players that think, well, we're still going to produce. Yes, it was great that Myers had a great game. It was great that Aguilar had the game of his life in a New England uniform. Awesome. Is that going to happen every week? Because if so, fine. Then you can find a trade partner for Kendrick Bourne, and hey, good riddance, right? But I like him as a player. I actually wanted his jersey. I still may get it before the season's out. I can't wait till they wear those red ones, but that's another topic. I think those are good. Look, those I love those. My first memory is that 59-0 blowout against Tennessee.
Oh yeah,
Back
yeah,
in the
2007. Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
it was great.
I remember the I remember the flea flicker.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh, crazy. Yeah, to Moss.
That
Oh,
was yeah,
phenomenal.
That was a snow game too. That was a blizzard in the
Right.
first half.
Right.
Then all
Yeah,
of a sudden, second half, no snow. Weird.
right. Yeah. Yeah. It just crazy. So that's what I mean. So I just think, to me, we need 84 on the field. And if he has to take a step back as far as talking, then maybe I hope he does so. But they need him to be on the field. Damn the principal. He needs to play. Period.
Last last thing I want to get into. Okay, maybe two more things. I'm going to get rid of one of these. Tight ends. Used to be a staple of the Patriots offense. Used to be an absolute staple of this Patriots offense, even when even the middle, even the not to be dynasty and in the dynasty, this Patriots offense was defined by his tight ends. And to me, when I look at the problems, I went back and I looked up when the last game a Patriots tight end had over 100 receiving yards in a game. Before last year, I understand Hunter Henry may have had a couple last year, but this is going back. So obviously, no surprise to anybody, it was Gronk all the way in 2018, pretty much his second to last or third to last game before he came here. To me, this is a problem staring me right in the face that they have obviously tried to address, and they tried to address it last season. That you need to get production from your tight ends, or else this team is screwed. I understand they brought Benjamin Watson back in 2019. He didn't do much. I understand he was more of a cheerleader than a player that year.
Right.
They tried Devin Asiasi, they tried Dalton Kane, but
They're not even on the team anymore. They're gone. It's wild.
They're gone. I don't even think they're in the NFL anymore, to be honest with you.
Right.
They might be.
That's wild to me.
And
wild. Who wasted picks?
It's wouldn't be the first for Bill. It needs
to be the last.
To me, it's an obvious problem, because do you think it's because the skill players are too good now? I'm not saying that the Patriots skill players are good, but when Gronk was here, what made him special was the fact that pretty much everyone on the offense besides Julian Edelman sucked. And that's why he had to be so special, because he had to. And now, Nelson Aguilar is
Brandon Cooks was good the year that he was there.
Yeah, but he was also toxic.
Sure.
He only lasted the year.
Reduced.
Yeah.
It's like, it's funny how that goes, right? We worry about the toxic behavior.
Well, what I'm trying to say, what I'm trying to say is, I look at the Patriots offense, and I'll even include Kendrick Bourne in this. I look at this.
Yep.
I look at that offense and say, that guy can make plays. 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 When Gronk was here, it was Gronk can make plays. and these other guys are football players except for Edelman. Now I feel like that there's maybe too much offensive skill to go around. That's
Right.
just
On paper,
IMHO.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, sure. And I think in your humble opinion there's probably some truth to that. Show us then. Show us. Show us that there's more talent on the outside, which is why you can't get those guys open. But as you mentioned, as we talked about in our meeting earlier, you've committed $50 million
$25 million.
or whatever, $25 million to these two tight ends. And once again, Hunter Henry produced last year, so this is not really a knock on him. This is more of a we're getting at Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith hasn't done anything.
Actually, I felt Jonnu Smith did okay. Yeah, I felt Jonnu Smith did okay as like a blocking tight end, but that's not why he was brought in.
Yeah, but that's not why he's here. Yeah, he's here to be the guy that can, the guy that you can run tight end screen, tight end bubble screen to. A guy that you can, well, and we brought this up before. He can be Aaron Hernandez like. Once again, spare me. I'm not getting it. So what happened? I'm talking on
on the field. Yeah, I got
the man. I know because it's some idiots to listen to. On the field, what he can do is similar to what Aaron Hernandez can was able to do, when he played here. That's why I remember being excited when it happened. I was like, man, like this guy could be in that role, and then Hunter Henry can be Gronk light. And he was at times last year. He became the safety blanket last year for Mac Jones. So what's better than one safety blanket? Two. We need to get back to that. We need to get back to having guys that's having 7, 8 guys that maybe having 2 or more receptions, right? That's what we need. So, and we know in this offense that there's some days that Bourne would be the guy that gets 8 catches for 110 yards. There's gonna be days that Hunter Henry's the one that gets 6 receptions for 95 yards. Like the focus on this offense changes week to week. That used to be what they got praised for the most, was that they had this chameleon like offense where if we need to run it 40 times, we can. If we need to throw it 40 times, we can. Right now, there just has to be more of a balance, and it can't be all on Mac's shoulders, and it can't all be on Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Harris's legs. Although they look great while running, there has to be a balance there. And it is my hope that we don't have to speak much more of this being a negative going forward. And we may see that starting as soon as this Sunday, because of what just happened in this previous week. So they just have to figure out how to get all those guys going. I don't know if Matt Patricia's that answer. I highly doubt that. But they need to figure out how to get those guys going. There was too much money being spent for those guys not to produce. And I know they have another year coming up when there's some more money that's going to be off the tables that they'll be able to spend some more. They just need to keep throwing money at that problem, and someone's going to stick at some point, whether it's on offense or even on defense. Just make it happen, figure it out, find a way to get guys here that are going to produce from day one, and buy in, and just make Mac and the rest of the offense better overall.
Patriots 1-1 on the season, beat the Steelers 17-14 on Sunday night. Play host of the Baltimore Ravens in their home opener on Sunday. I was at Gillette on Saturday, actually. I'm hoping they get rid of all those cranes. But that's just me. I'm an aesthetics person. What we're going to do now is we're going to take a quick break. If you've made it this far, thank you. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're watching this on YouTube. Holy shit, we have graphics. Isn't that weird? We're going to take a quick. We'll be right back. And when we come back, Richard Seymour already did his stuff. Vince Wilfork's going to the Patriots Hall of Fame this weekend, and a whole bunch of Patriots got nominated for the actual Pro Football Hall of Fame. We'll take a look at that. We'll talk about Vince Wilfork, and we'll be right back right after these words. This is the 617 right here, brought to you by the Crowworthy Network. And we're back on the 617, brought to you by Crowworthy. I am Craig D'Alessandro. This is the Professor Ray Sean this is the Professor Ray Sean Buchanan over here on my left in Dorchester, right?
Yes, sir.
That's not where I want to be right now. I can tell you that for various reasons. But
Hey, no, you enjoy the food down here.
well, that's not what I meant. But.
No, I know. I'm messing with you. I know, man. I don't want to be down here either. It's fine.
Big event happening down at Gillette Stadium this upcoming Saturday. Vince Wilfork's being inducted into the Patriots Hall of Fame. Have you seen Vince Wilfork lately?
No, but
Oh my
God. The last thing in memory is when the Texans were on Hard Knocks and he came in there basically wearing his just overalls and
Yeah.
everyone lost their mind. And I just thought it was just the funniest thing ever. Talking in a Texan accent, like it was just gold. Obviously, we know what he was as a player, but I mean, just
Sure.
he was a character on and off the field, and just one of the best big men ever to do it, regardless of where he played. And but yeah, that's the last thing. But I haven't seen how he looks recently.
So
But
so the reason I brought that up is because the reason I brought that up is because he was on Tom Curran's podcast a couple of weeks ago, and they did a video interview with him. Dude's lost at least 100 pounds. Like, he is borderline skinny. Like, obviously he doesn't need to play at like 350 of his playing weight anymore. But I was like, they showed the video. I was like, Vince, is that you? And as the graphic came up, Vince Wilfork, Patriots defensive lineman from whenever to whenever. I was like, holy shit. What happened to Vince? He disappeared. He's half the man he used to be, literally. But Vince Wilfork being inducted into the Patriots Hall of Fame this weekend. I'm rather jazzed for it. He's one of my favorite Patriots. Richard Seymour. Was it Richard Seymour last year?
yes,
Either way. Wilfork, among 24 former Patriots nominated for the 2023 Pro Football Hall of Fame. You know, words are hard, right? You know that?
they are. They can be.
Typically between 4 and 8 players this week. I'm not sure how many players are going to make it in this year rather. Total 24 players who have signed the Patriots at one point. I don't count a lot of these that are listed as former Patriots. Like, they may have made cameo appearances, but the ones I do count are like Troy Brown, Ben Coates. Corey Dillon was more of a Bengal, but I think he made his signature as a Patriot, obviously. Torrey Holt, I don't even count. Steven Jackson, I don't count. Chad Jackson, I guess counts.
Chad Dawson,
no,
not Chad Blunt.
Ojo Cinco. Yeah, I guess you count him. Logan Mankins, I count. He's a Patriot. He'll always be a Patriot. I don't care how long he played down with the Bucks. Fred Taylor, don't count him. Brian Waters was one of my favorite offensive linemen of all time. Him and Stephen Neal are my favorite Patriots defensive linemen of all time. Like, ever. Like, Brian Waters, you only hear one season. And then I think he went to the Texans, the Chiefs, or one of the two. But when he was here, you were not getting by him. He was so good. Then Reggie Wayne, obviously we know what happened with Reggie Wayne. He didn't last the season. Wes Welker, I thought, was an interesting name that made the nominees list. I don't think he's going to make it, but he had a very, very excellent Patriots career for like 4 years.
You got to think. So I tell people he had, I think it was 6 straight. He had 6 straight 1,000-yard seasons here. Before they let him go in 2013. The dude straight. I mean, I know people say, well, it was Moss, but Moss wasn't here the whole 5 years, 6 years. Like, he was the ultimate security.
I think Moss got traded in 09. I want to say.
What, for Welker?
No, Moss got traded back to Minnesota.
That was 2010. 2010.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 2010. So, and then obviously he ended his career in San Francisco a couple years later. But yeah, I think that Wes Welker's time here, I mean, from 112, 115, 118, dude had multiple 100 reception, seasons, the 1,000-yard years. Like, it wasn't always big touchdown numbers because there was other guys getting touchdowns, obviously, with Moss and some other guys there, but
Stallworth.
Stallworth, right. So he was phenomenal. Unfortunately, because of how people remember things and they only remember the negatives, people are gonna forever remember the drop against New York, against the Giants in Super Bowl 46. That's not how we should be remembered, because once again, we don't get there without the production he had most seasons. So I just think that needs to be the focus. But the numbers are there, over 900 receptions. I think over 10,000 receiving yards. Like, I think the numbers warrant him being in the Hall of Fame. Definitely not first ballot, but I think it warrants him being there. it's ridiculous that Torrey Holt is not in the Hall of Fame. I think that's wild. It's taken this long. The numbers he put up alongside Isaac Bruce and Ricky Prohl and Isaiah Hakeem, and Marshall Falk, and then Steven Jackson. When Steven Jackson came along, the dude was lethal. So whether it was Mark Bolger, whether it was Kurt Warner, it didn't matter who the quarterback was. Like, he produced. Fred Taylor to me is a Hall of Famer. Yes, he was here for a cameo appearance, but once again, check the numbers in Jacksonville. It's comparable with with Curtis Martin. It's comparable with a lot of guys in the era. So he, ask the AFC South if Fred Taylor's a Hall of Famer. But look at the numbers. Once again, he's had a great post career, what he's doing with the podcast that he's on, and everything now. But check the tape. Like, he was someone that was super super special, and he ended his career obviously. But he wasn't someone that he wasn't he didn't shake. He wasn't a room shaker by the time he got here in New England. But and then lastly, I'll say Corey Dillon. Listen, by far the best running back we've had in this era under Belichick. 1635 that first year. Just made the offense super balanced. His Cincinnati numbers alone, it got him to that point, but obviously the New England run put him over the top, and why he's even getting considered for that. I'm shocked that Troy Brown wasn't even on that list. I don't know. Maybe it's being generous.
He's on it.
I'm just like, yeah, he's on it, but I'm just like, Patriot Hall of Famer, sure, but NFL Hall of Famer.
I don't know about that.
That's not. Yeah, I think the other Patriot that was the other number 80, other Irving Fryer, for what he did here in New England, what he did in Philadelphia, warrants him to at least get a look. I don't know if he's going to be first ballot either. Well, he's not first ballot. He's been gone for a while, but I think that he's someone that can get that consideration as well. So yeah, and sorry, I keep going down the whole list, but like they got it in front of me, but I don't. But it's okay. It's fine. We got time. Our guy Asante, he's first ballot to me. I was gonna get to
the defense. You didn't let me. You didn't let me speak. I was gonna get to the defense.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so yeah. So
I was just gonna say, I look at this offensive.
Yeah, I did say all offense, guy. I sure did.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're talking. I know you're talking about the defense. I got all the offense guys out the way.
Well, I was gonna say, I look at all these former offensive Patriots. I really only see one, maybe two that are actually going to make the Hall of Fame someday, and neither of them are really Patriots. Steven Jackson and maybe Brittany Wayne
over Fred Taylor.
I didn't really follow Fred Taylor's career. I was not really a Jacksonville fan.
Okay, they have. Their numbers are they're similar to me. Steven Jackson, the injuries changed.
The Fred Taylor I remember is the ghost of Fred Taylor when Maurice Jones-Drew came around.
Yeah, when you get a guy that's that good, I get it, because Maurice Jones-Drew had about a good 3-year run in this league. You're like, okay, this guy can really play. He probably added years to Fred Taylor's career, honestly, because Fred Taylor was getting hurt, and obviously they had those seasons with Jack Del Rio, and early on with Tom Crawford, they ended Dan Marino's career when they beat them 62-7 all the years ago when Fred Taylor was young in the league. So yeah, that makes sense, but it's definitely more comparable than people think. But like I said, I know we want to touch on the defensive guys. So
yeah, so the nominees for the defense, I actually think there are some Hall of Famers in here that maybe played for the Patriots for a substantial period of time. Linebacker Chad Brown, I don't know who that is. Teddy Bruschi, James Harrison, Rodney Harrison, Willie McGinnis, Darrell Revis, Asante Samuel, Vince Wilfork, and Adrian Wilson, who barely played for the Patriots, if at all. I don't think he ever actually played. I actually see a couple of Hall of Famers.
Adrian Wilson. Wow. Okay. Oh, yeah. His claim to fame was in Arizona, though. That's
right. Exactly. He was. I remember he was an offensive. I remember he was an offensive offseason addition like 4 or 5 years ago or something. And he was like, "I'm out. See ya."
Right. Okay.
So for me, I actually do see Hall of Famers in this one.
Yeah.
For Patriots. Um, you were saying Asante?
Sante,
Yeah,
Willie.
really?
Um,
Okay.
so to me, those are two locks. Darrell Revis,
Okay.
Revis is a lock. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Revis
Revis.
is a lock.
He's going in as a Jet, but I loved him as a
Oh,
Patriot.
sure. But yeah. There's was going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneer, but you never know. Like, Revis is a lock. So those three for sure. Um, I want to say Chad Brown was a Seahawk or a Ram. I think that's what that was.
I have no memory of him as a
Yeah, I don't
Patriot.
remember who he
Yeah,
was, honestly, but I think that those are the three that I think of right away. Brewski won't be first ballot if he does make it. Um, and, and I hate to say
I
it.
don't think Bruschi makes it. Love him.
I hate that I even have to say this like this because I know just how this may be received, and I'm sorry in advance. Um, he may get some sympathy votes because of what happened in the middle of his career.
Yeah,
But it shouldn't take away that he was a hell of a player. And anytime 54 needed to make a play, the original 54
yeah.
needed to make a play, he was going to.
The other 54 might make it in too, man.
What, Hightower?
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, once again,
I think Hightower's going to have an easier job making it a Hall of Fame than Bruschi is.
Sure. I mean, listen, Mike got on me. I like said to me, I thought Hightower was better than Bruce Deep. That's just me.
I do too.
Um,
Don't feel
but
bad.
to me,
I'll defend it.
it would take multiple tries. But I believe that he'll get in at some point. But like I said, Asante to me is a lock. Revis to me is a lock. William McGinnis to me is a lock. Like
I don't
those
think
those
either of the
guys.
hair. I don't think either of the Harrisons are.
I'm tricked. Rodney Harrison to me is a lock. He's a
I don't
lock.
think he's ever getting in. It's the same issue with
Why?
James Harrison.
How he talked to the media? Like he's in the media now.
No, because of the steroids.
This is not baseball though.
I know.
It's not baseball, and I don't see. Once again, people feared 37, regardless of what he injected. He was lighting your ass up. Listen, at Pittsburgh Steelers fans that listen to this, you know he's a Hall of Famer. You remember that pick 6 before halftime. Philadelphia Eagles fans, you remember that pick to end Super Bowl 39. You remember that. You remember it. San Diego fans, you remember the hits that he was putting on early on in his career when they lost his I'd say Notre Dame. When they lost the I'll say because some of the guys from Notre Dame was on San Francisco at the time, but
Right.
when they even though when they lost to San Francisco back in the day, you've seen him play hard to get next to Junior Seau and those guys there, and the guy that's a Hall of Fame player. Him, the Ed Reeds, the Rod Wilsons. Don't tell me he's not in that category. I'm sorry. People know that played that game and saw him line up every Sunday. They knew when Belichick got him because they thought he was done, so to speak. Bill said, "Come over here. You play safety for me, essentially replace Lawyer Malloy." And guess what? It was hunting season from the moment Rodney Harrison got there. Period. He's a Hall of Famer. It may not be first ballot. Fine. Cool. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I saw enough. Like to me, there's more of a case than even with Brewski. And once again, Brewski was, you know what I'm saying? But Rodney Harrison is a Hall of Famer. Point blank, period. You know what your eyes saw. If you're saying otherwise, I don't know what you're on currently. I don't know. He's a Hall of Famer. That's a lock to me. If I'm a voter, I'm voting for Rodney Harrison. Once again, my eye test. I'm an eye test guy. That eye test showed to me he put fear in other players when he was on the field, and when he needed to give his best, he gave his best when it was required. Period. That's a Hall of Famer to me.
Yeah, yes or no. The quick one because I don't really count him as a Patriot, even though I know he very much enjoyed his time here. Quick yes or no, James Harrison.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And the big overarching point we're trying to make here is Vince Wilfork a Pro Football Hall of Famer?
Yes, he is. Once again, argued the best at your position. He was for a number of years. He was. He was a Ted Washington. He was a Keith Trailer. He was that. He was Sam Madden. He was those guys. He was a Gilbert Brown. For those that want to go back further, he was a Gilbert Brown. He was that. Give him his due. He wasn't a William Perry. He wasn't a Fridge. He wasn't a, he wasn't someone that was gonna make a rap song. The guy delivered. He could have. Playing after you.
Make a hell of a rack of ribs, I can tell you that.
Yeah, exactly, right. Excuse me. Yeah, Vince Wilfork's Hall of Famer. He's that is to me, that's also a lock. And once again, I'm happy that he's made the Patriot Hall of Fame, and the next stop should be Canton, Ohio. And it was a job well done. I would love for him to do a Mark Henry type thing and say, I got a lot left in the tank. That would be phenomenal. And then say I'm starting the second half. That would be great. That'd be such a work. That'd be so hilarious. But so it'd be like, that's what I do, Bill. And that would be great. I would even care if we would have lost on Sunday after that. I'd be like, I've seen enough. Thank you, Vince.
I'm telling you, when you see him on Saturday and he's up there doing his little speech at Foxborough, at Gillette Stadium, you're gonna be like, holy shit.
Yeah,
because he's just, we gotta get the secret, Ray. We gotta get the secret what happened.
Yeah, no, but we do. And I need to show. We might need to pop up there someday and be like,
I was there on Saturday from our brother's bachelor party, and it was only after, and there was a Revolutions game that happened, and we went down to Supercharge, which is down the street from Gillette, and I decided it would be a good idea if I left Gillette Stadium at the same time as everybody else. And boy, was I wrong.
Wow.
So, right. So that's a mistake I will not be making again.
Right.
But
unless they give us here the 617 press passes, and we would love to.
I drove by the exit where the press goes in because they get a little shortcut and everything. So I was like, the police officer came up to me, was like, "This is for media only. Are you credentialed media?" And I was like, "Well, you heard about my podcast?" I was like, "Oh, that probably wouldn't work, would it?" A man can dream.
One day.
But Rayshon, you're not done with us this week. You'll be back on Thursday of Joe. We'll preview previewing the Patriots home opener versus the Baltimore Ravens this upcoming Sunday. That episode will be out on Friday. I'll link it down below when it comes out. Also, if you want to check out this video, if you've gotten this far, God bless you. If you want to see the video version, it's over on our YouTube page. I'll link that down below as well. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell as well. And if you're listening to us on the podcast, make sure to hit subscribe. Leave us a star rating. If you're on Apple, 5-star rating would be great. Spotify, whatever the hell they do on their app, I don't really know. But Rayshon, always a pleasure.
Yes. Yeah, no, listen, this is great. This is great. And I gotta say this before we go. So John Legend made a song a while ago called Green Light, and Andre 3000 did a song, was on that record, and he said at the end,
I know that one.
He said sometimes you gotta step behind you gotta step from behind the piano and let her know what's going on. So Craig, I'm glad you stepped from behind the booth technically and let us know what's going on. It was phenomenal. This is great, and I'm glad that I'm the guy that can get that out of you.
We're about an hour and 15 into this, so I can dribble on a little bit. People don't know me, but I do this for a living actually, and I produce shows for actual radio. Not that podcasting, well, it isn't, but so I actually do this for a living. So it's not something I can do. It's just there's 6 of us. I want you guys to shine. I already have my little moment in the sun on my other things. So, but obviously you guys know I really exist. I actually have a face, unfortunately, and I'm very red tonight, and I have no idea why. I'm actually in a very cold room, which is bizarre. But but for Rayshon Buchanan, who is, there we go, mirrored. For Rayshon Buchanan, who's right over there, I'm Craig D'Alessandro. We'll talk to you on Friday for the preview of the Patriots versus the Baltimore Ravens at Gillette Stadium this upcoming Sunday. If you've seen the scroll down below, make sure to check out betus.com. You can get 120% off your first a sign-up bonus for 125% on your first bet. It's coming soon to Massachusetts. Still don't know when, but it's coming. I'm telling you. So for Rayshon Buchanan, I am Craig D'Alessandro. We'll talk to you on Friday. Green with Envy coming out on Thursday. Obviously, the Robert Williams news coming out this afternoon from Woj Bomb. They'll have that all covered. I'll have that link down below as well. So for the third time, he is Rayshon Buchanan. I am Craig D'Alessandro. This is the 617 podcast brought to you by Growworthy, and we'll talk to you next time.